When I first enrolled in Bakersfield College, I just graduated from East Bakersfield High School. My father had attended Bakersfield College and had 5 children. I was the last of 5. And so he urged me to go to attend Bakersfield College. And he thought it would be good for me. He thought I would be able to narrow what I wanted from a 4-year degree college or university. And he was right. I had started to get an interest for photography. One, my father had always photographed our family on vacations and many trips, and rarely was allowed to touch the camera. So it was always of interest to me. Eventually he bought me a camera at a yard sale, a Yashica camera, and I started photographing with that in high school. My mother survived World War II, and I always found her stories of surviving interesting and riveting, and I could never quite connect her experience with reality. Well, I took some of the basic classes for business, but I also found myself in Harry Wilson's photography art class. I loved that class. I had a great time. I learned a lot about photography, about my cameras, time in the dark room, seeing prints come to life, and felt like I had some success throughout the semester. The first semester, the close of it, I asked Harry Wilson in our one-to-one end of class session whether he thought this was something I could pursue as a business. And he said, yes, I do see some talent that you have in this. And that was a great encouragement. So I saw the Renegade Rip, the newspaper, and I inquired there about classes and how I might participate in the newspaper. When I arrived at the Renegade Rip, I met Rodney Thornburg. He was the advisor at the photojournalism department. He worked as a freelance photographer for the Bakersfield Californian. Also, he was with the Air Force, a photographer of the Air Force. And Kathy Freeman, she led the newspaper as an overall advisor, and she was a reporter for the Bakersfield Californian. Through working on local stories on campus, and then also news stories, there was a story I worked on. I thought about, what is attending Bakersfield College like? And there was a particular student, her name was Grace. She was a mother of 3 children. And I asked her if she would allow me into her home, to tell her story about being a re-entry student, about all the things she had to juggle. And did a day in the life, and I felt like really create a story in the Renegade Rip that showed other students how much re-entry students are kind of juggling on their plate. And we took this photo page that we did of Grace's story and we entered it in the JCC. Professional photojournalist that judged a contest. He said there's a lot of entries, there's a lot of very visually compelling entries, but the one that speaks the most to journalism, what photojournalism is really about sharing stories and empathy and helping people understand each other, was the story of Grace. And so I won a first place in photo story competition in the JCC, and that gave me a great leg up and gave me a door to the future there, to come from Bakersfield College to be noticed in this statewide competition, and then to be invited to the university that wound up being the best fit for me. It's always a pleasure to share your experiences, and it brings meaning to those experiences. Some of those things you photograph, people dying and death and destruction and nations falling apart, it's really only meaningful if you can share that experience and help others with understanding of that. And when Bakersfield College was building their Veterans Center, I was extremely honored, and I offered up a selection of photographs, and they took a fair number of them. Being able to have my photographs bridge that gap for the veterans of Bakersfield College and their Veterans Center was a real honor and a completion of a lifelong goal.